All right, recording. Okay, friends, I'm going to go ahead and share assignment number 2 with everybody. So give me a sec. Pythagorean identities. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. Like we don't know those already. Okay, there we go. I needed to make sure that I didn't click on my Calculus 2 exam and let some folks see it, since some of you guys are suffering through Calc 2 with me as well. That wouldn't be fun to know all the answers beforehand. All right, guys. Assignment 2, logic circuits, input-output tables, Boolean statements, hexadecimal, decimal, binary code, and then 8-bit addition. Okay, so this is all the fun stuff. I'm going to scroll through it. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and answer any questions that you all might have about any of the problems. You can either put them in the chat or you just shout them out, whatever you guys feel is most appropriate, or whatever you're identifying as the time. It's fine. So problem 4. All right. Yeah, these circuits with the Boolean expressions. Happy to go through that one, by the way. All right. Our Boolean circuit, let me go ahead and write it up really quickly, or at least as quickly as I can, which is probably slow. And I got to shift the screens around, blah, 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 blah. All right. So, and so I can make sure that I copy this down correctly, because I'm going to be looking at my other screen. All right. So we got quantity, not P or not Q, N, not R and Q. All right, and then close parenthesis, and not P. And the instructions tell us to build a Boolean circuit for this. All right. Suggestion, guys, work inside the parentheses just like you would with algebra. All right, and work from like the order of operations from left to right. So you always want to go inside parentheses first. And I think we defined this last Tuesday, but like your order of operations are nots, okay, first, and then second, ands and ors, okay, and then third, although we don't see it in these problems, the implies. All right, so when you're inside these parentheses, that might help you as to how to start to draw these circuits. Okay, so I'm going to start by drawing like a small, like a part, this part of the circuit right here, the P, the not P or not Q. So I'm going to have a branch off of P, and I'm going to need a not, and I'm going to have a branch off of Q, and I'm going to need a not. All right, so notice that what I did was I did the knots first. And then finally, this is a poor looking or, but you get what you pay for. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to connect those with an or, okay? Or some sort of object that hopefully looks like an or a 3-year-old tried to draw a spaceship, okay? So that takes care of the first one, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to still work inside the parentheses. So now I'm going to work on this second animal right here. And every time I define a new variable, whether it has a not or it doesn't have a not, so not a not, or if it's just an R, you want to draw a new sort of a new wire out of this. All right, so I'm going to define an R. All right, it's going to need a not out of this. I already have Q, so I don't want to draw a new Q. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to branch off the previous Q right here, and I'm going to connect those with an and. Okay, so I took care of the not, I got the Q, and now I just need to connect them with an and. All right, so that takes care of the one that I checked off 4 times, because apparently I must be check happy today. All right. All right, there we go. Let's check it twice. There we go. As if it helps. The other thing that I have to do is I have to make sure that I can join those with an and. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw those together, and now we have an and. All right, so I've completed everything inside the largest set of parentheses. Now all I have to do is just connect everything with an and, not P. All right, so I have my P right here, and I'm just going to branch off of that. Okay, it needs to be a not, so a not. All right, so that takes care of this not P. And then finally, I'm just going to conjoin those with an and. Okay. All right. And that'll be your logic circuit for that. All right. So as you guys are working through this, okay, order of operations, important with logic. Okay, work inside the parentheses. If you have multiple levels of parentheses, left to right, okay, and then from there, you're going to use your order of operations on that side with the not, the and or, and then, although it's not going to be used, implies is going to be your third or your implicit. Okay, so Michael, does that help out a little bit with being able to understand the order with which these are going to be constructed, sir? Or close enough? Okay. All right. Oh, cool. Okay. Right. Yeah, joining it together at the end. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it's because most of us, like, if I just gave you this, you all could do that, or if I just gave you that, but then conjoining them as we start to build them up, and that is generally a problem for students throughout the course. So I'm glad you asked that one. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Any other questions about number 4 before we move on? Okay. What other questions can I answer for folks about anything on assignment number 2? You can throw it in the chat. Can we do 7B? All right. I'm going to do my best, Jackson. I'm not really good at this stuff. So, and for 7B, now correct me if I'm wrong. For 7B, is that the one that says 297 base 10? Was it positive or negative 297? I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. The one, okay, it should be positive, guys. So by the way, if it just says negative, okay, what you guys can do is you can just ignore the negative, okay, and you could just do it as positive 297. Could you show some examples of negative numbers in numbers? Absolutely, yeah, I can do that as well. All right. So what I'll do is, guys, I'll just go ahead and work it through, but you guys can just ignore the negative on that one. For those of you guys that took the 2's complement and did it that way, that's fine too. Okay, I don't have any problems with that. All right. But if it's a negative number and you're just converting it into a different base, you just make that number negative. All right. Don't confuse that with the 8-bit notation with which the computer stores it. Okay. There's 2 different types of operations going on. If I just ask you guys to convert something, I don't care that you guys use the 8-bit notation, okay, or the 8-bit representation. But if I ask you to add the 2 numbers using the 8-bit stuff, then do so. All right. So anyway, let's say for instance that I did ask you to convert that into both hex and decimal, okay, because it couldn't hurt to see it. Okay. What I generally do is I start with the powers of 2. All right. So remember, we have 2 to the 0, 2 to the first, 2 squared, 2 cubed, 2 4, 2 5. 2 6, 2 7, 2 8, and 2 9. All right. And what you want to do is you just want to go up, ignoring the negative sign for now. You just want to go up to the number that's just less than the next perfect square. Okay. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and then 512. We're not going to use 512, right? Because that's bigger than 297. Again, just ignoring the negative sign, right? And what we're going to do is, whenever we can subtract a number from 297, we're going to put a 1 there. Okay, so I'm just going to put a 1 here because that means that I can subtract that. And I'm just going to take 297 and then subtract 256. And that should leave me with 41. Hopefully, if I passed basic math. If not, it's going to be a rough rest of the 12 weeks. All right. Can't do anything with this one because 128 is bigger. Can't do anything with 64 because 64 is bigger than 41. But I can certainly subtract 32. All right. From 41, that leaves me with 9. Can't subtract 16. I can subtract 8. All right. And then can't. All right. So in binary, okay, we have 1001, 01001 base 2. But given the problem that you guys had, just throw a negative in front of it. Okay, no big deal. Okay, so that would be the representation, not 8-bit representation, but just the decimal representation of that number. Okay. Now, to be able to get to the hex value, what you're going to do is you're just going to group in 4s. Okay. And if it's missing some digits in front, like this guy right here, just fill them in with zeros. Okay. So this would be 0, 0, 0, 1. Right. And you're just going to do 1, 2, 4, 8. 1, 2, 4, 8. 1, or down here, 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay. And that's how you're going to convert that into hexadecimal. Okay. So this one right here, you have 8 plus 1, which is going to be 9. Over here, you have 2. And over here, this is a 1. All right. So the answer for this one would be 129 base 16. But again, because the original problem was negative, then just throw a negative sign in front of that. Okay. So I just want to make sure that I answered everybody's questions, because I did see a number of questions in the chat, just to make sure. Okay. So first of all, Jackson, did I answer your question about how to try to take care of this one just because it had a negative in front of it? And then Newton, I just want to make sure, was that sufficient for the examples where you have negative numbers in number systems, or were you asking for something different? So just put them in the chat, guys, or you can shout it out. I really don't care either way. Gotcha. Okay. I don't think I did a -1 in the videos, right? So if I didn't do it, then okay. Oh, and Newton, yeah, that makes sense. I was doing the 8-bit thing. All right. Just write it on the teacher evaluation that I expect you guys to do things that we don't cover in class. So it's like physics. So, I'm kidding. All right, guys. Any other questions about 7B? Everybody good with that? Okay. What else we got? Anything else on assignment number 2 that I can be of service to you all? Everybody good with the 8-bit stuff at the end? Anybody need to see any of those, or you guys feel like you're okay with that stuff? Not trying to pressure anybody, just asking. Okay, I'm going to go through a few more things with you guys. So if you do have a question, we can certainly go back. Don't want to pressure anybody. Don't want to waste your time if you guys feel like you're okay with everything. All right, this week. All right, so assignment 2. Okay, you guys finish it up, submit it by 5 o'clock. I think everybody did a great job in submitting it in the PDF format. I don't think I had to go back and do anything special for anybody. So I appreciate that. That really helps, especially because there's, I think, 14 of you all. A few kids in my honor stack class, they still think that a PDF file is the same thing as an image. So I'm going to have to edify them as the difference. Hopefully I don't have to use a backhand. Good thing this isn't being recorded. All right, so this is going to be due assignment 2, 5 p.m. today, okay, via Blackboard. All right, if you need a little bit more time than 5 p.m., okay, something's going on, just shoot me an email. Say, hey, Chris, give me a few more hours. All right, unless I'm in a really bad mood, and I can't be because the Orioles aren't playing, then I'm going to let you turn in a little bit later, okay? All right, assignment 3, that's the stuff you guys are going to be working on this week, okay? Similar to what we've been doing, we're kind of building up our mathematical vocabulary, and assignment 3 is sort of the culmination of all that. So with assignment 3, we're going to start out with both existential and universal statements. Okay, so more of those sorts of forms. All right, making sure you guys can take the negation of those. Okay. And then towards the end of this section, we're going to go back to our friends modus ponens and modus tollens, and we're going to be able to verify these sort of argument forms with predicates. Okay, so we're going to be talking a lot about predicates in this section. Okay, and a predicate is going to basically be a statement that's either true or false when you substitute a value into it. So for instance, a very basic example of predicate is P of X is equal to X greater than 5. Okay. And if I was to say P of 4, that would be 4 greater than 5, which is false. So that's what we're going to be looking at with respect to a predicate. It's sort of like a function, except it's not necessarily a one-to-one output, or it is a one-to-one output, but it's not like a graphical function or a geometric function as you guys are used to. Okay, so we're going to be looking at those things. Okay, we're going to be looking at multiple quantifiers. I don't think this section is too rigorous again. Okay, but there are, like, some wording issues sometimes for folks. So I want to make sure next week we do answer those. Okay, assignment 3 going to be due next Tuesday, which I believe is going to be the 22nd. Okay, at 5 p.m. usual time. Nothing different. Let me check my calendar. Make sure I can count. Okay. All right. Just as you guys have been doing, watch the videos, use the guided notes to take notes, make your documented questions, and then use the class time to ask me those questions. Okay. On Thursday, if you guys have questions, okay, make sure you ask me, just shoot me an email, say, hey, Chris, I got a question about something or another. Happy to answer that question for you guys. Okay. I just literally sit by the computer waiting for you guys to ask me questions. All right. So that's what's going on for this week. Okay. Any questions about what's going on for this week? Watching more videos, learning some more junk. Okay. All right, guys. Now, next week, big week. Okay. Let's make sure we understand what's going on. So for next week, here's what's going to go on. Okay. So as I already stated, assignment 3, that's due the 22nd. All right. We will meet as a class on the 22nd. Okay. So class on 22nd. Okay. And what's going to go on that day is 2 things mainly. Okay. So we'll go over any questions for assignment 3, but also what we're going to do is we're going to review for exam 1. Okay. So exam 1 review. All right. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the exam for a few moments. So just hang back so I can talk about that with you guys. All right. But the actual exam itself will be on Thursday, the 24th. Okay. And it's going to be taken in Blackboard through HonorLock. HONOR. Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys where to access it and all that good stuff. I realize some of you guys may have taken exams before via HonorLock. Maybe some of you guys haven't. Okay. So I want to make sure that for those of you guys that haven't, that you guys understand what to do with it. Okay. But let me first of all talk about how to prepare for the examination and that sort of stuff. Okay. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to go to Blackboard when it comes time to prepare for the exam. All right. So we go to Blackboard and then we're going to go to our course. And all right. And if you guys go to where it says Files and Documents on the left-hand side, okay, there's an exam review. Okay, so you click on the exam reviews, and here's an exam review, and here are the solutions to the exam review. Now let me click on the solutions just so you guys can see it. What I did was I actually just worked through every single one of the problems on the exam review. Okay, so that way, like, as you guys are working through, you can kind of see if you got something right or if you didn't get something right. Okay, that way, and by the way, the exam review questions. So if I go back here to the exam reviews, this is what it looks like, just the exam review itself. It's just a Word doc. All right. It might come up. Who knows? Oh, it's right here. It downloaded itself. Duh. A lot of good my computer science degree is doing me today. Hold please. I gotta swipe all these screens over. All right. So here's the exam review, just in case you want to see what it looks like. All right. Guys, literally, these are old test questions. All right. So what I did was I just pulled, and it'll come up in a minute, I think. Yeah, here it is. All right. I don't know why I gotta click on it, but regardless. So these are just old test questions. All right. What I would recommend, guys, is maybe studying beforehand. Okay. Seeing what you know, seeing what you don't know. Okay. And taking the test like it's the real test, as close as you can. Okay. And then if you get stuck on something as you're taking it, that's where you might want to use the solutions to maybe remind yourself as to what you might be stuck on at 7. Okay, so by the way, we've done everything up until number 12 on the exam review. Okay, so for those of you guys that want to go through and start working on the exam review, you could probably literally work through 2/3 of it. Okay, all right, so that's how you guys want to study for the examination. Okay, just go into the exam review, study those questions. Also, it might be helpful for you guys to go through the old assignments as well. Okay, just to remind you guys, the solutions to the assignments after I grade them are going to be posted in Blackboard right here under this solutions to assignments and exams. All right, and after today, after you guys turn everything in, I'm going to post number 2, but you guys can go to solutions for assignment 1. Right, and it might open today, it might not, I don't know. Oh, it did, but it's on the other screen. And for those of you guys that might not have looked at it, okay, geez, now it's stuck in some sort of cyber hell. It's not moving. There it goes. Nope, that's the assignment for today. Hold on, guys. I don't know what I clicked on. I clicked on coming soon. All right. But on the assignment solutions, I literally just worked through all of the problems. Okay, so that way, if you got something wrong on the first assignment, okay, what I would recommend is you guys go back to the solutions, okay? Or maybe I said something like show steps, all right? And, you know, what the heck does that mean? Like, what does he want from me? Okay, go back and take a look at the solutions, you know, if I marked you off for something. If you guys feel like I marked you, you know, too harshly, let me know, okay? You know, the best that can happen is I give you some points back. The worst that can happen is I don't give you some points back. If you think I graded you too harshly and you want me to take more points off, let me know. I'll take more points off if you want me to. Never had it happen, but never know. All right. So those are some effective ways to be able to study for your examination. Okay. So any questions, guys, about where to go to study for the exam, that sort of stuff? Okay. Now, the exam itself is going to be taken in Blackboard. So when you're ready to take the exam, all right, and it will be during class time. Okay, so you're going to have to log in. You're going to have to take the exam during class time. You're going to go to where it says examinations. Okay. And for those of you that have never used HonorLock before, I do have an honor mock test. Okay. It might be helpful for you guys to log in and just try it out for those of you that have never used HonorLock before, or if you have and it's been a little while. Okay, couldn't hurt to use it. Okay, but just go here. It'll show you like the process, and it'll show you what to expect. To be able to take the test, you do need either your Harvard ID or your driver's license or some sort of valid ID. Okay, if you don't have that, you have to get it before you go through and take the examination. Otherwise, they won't let you. All right. What you're going to do is you're going to scroll down. All right, and I haven't released the exam yet, but you'll just click right here where it says examination 1. Okay. Just like you do with the assignments, you're going to work everything on separate paper. And what you'll do is you'll just work it out. When you're done, you're going to go ahead and just take pictures of your work, just like you do before, and you're going to upload it as a PDF right here to the exam 1 submission. Okay. You don't have to write anything or type anything into the fields where we have examination 1. Okay. So when you open it up in Blackboard, there's like blank fields. You don't have to type anything in there. I'm not going to look at the electronic version of your exam. I'm going to look at the physical version where you guys write things out and then take the pictures of it for me. Okay, and you just upload it right here to the exam 1 submission. So just like you guys have been doing with the assignments. Okay. All right, so that's where you guys go to take the exams. Okay. For the examination, what you guys can do prior to it, besides studying, if you go to Files and Documents, there's this this folder right here, Approved Materials for Exams. Okay, if you click on that, down here we have the basic rules of equivalence. Okay, print that out. Okay, that's that in your guided notes. Remember, we had all the what's it called? It's like all those rules with the basic logical equivalencies, the rules of inference, all that stuff. Print this out, and you can use this for the examination. Okay. The folks at the HonorLock, they know that you're going to have this. Okay, so you're just going to hold it up to the screen, just show them that it's legit, and you're not trying to pull one over on anybody. Okay, and you can use this for the examination. Okay, The other, and certainly you want to have blank paper. Okay. The other thing that I'll let you guys use for the exam is you guys can use, so you could use the rules of inference sheet. So basic logical equivalencies. So the basic logic sheet. Okay. And then you can also use a 3-inch by 5-inch. Okay. So not 3 foot by 5 foot. You can't get like some poster board from CVS and write everything on there. So 3-inch by 5-inch note card. Okay. And you can use both sides of it. You can write whatever you damn well please on it. Okay. So if you want to write example problems, if you want to write some notes to yourself as to like, you know, okay, remember at the end of the exam, you have to turn it in, whatever you guys want to write on there, that's up to you. I'd recommend maybe writing some examples of some of the harder problems like the Boolean algebra, the rules of inference, 8-bit notation, adding those. That's what I would recommend. Okay. Put the forms, contrapositive, converse, inverse. And then also when we start to get into the quantifiers for this week, I'd write those on there. Okay. You don't have to use it. If you feel like you know everything, that's fine too. Okay. All right. So that's about everything for the exam. Okay. Again, for the exam, you have to take it during class time. Okay. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware that you guys are going to log in on Thursday, 24th, 11:10 a.m. You're going to start the exam then. Okay. If something comes up and you have an emergency, please let me know as soon as possible. Okay. So that way we can make accommodations for the examination. All right. You know, I've done stuff like, you know, I've let the final exam count for 250 points before. So, you know, there's ways that we can kind of work around that. But I have to know what's going on. If you don't let me know what's going on, then I can't really help you. All right. And I'll just assume that you didn't want to take the, well, you didn't take the examination and you don't want the 100 points possible for the exam. Okay. Can you use front and back, Michael? And when you say front and back, that's for the note card. Okay. Yes, sir. You can use front and back for that note card. Absolutely. Okay. And when you guys are doing the problems, okay, if you want to use front and back on the paper, that's fine too, as long as it's legible. Okay. Quite honestly, guys, it's a little bit easier, not for me to read, but for anybody, if you just write on one side and then keep the other side blank. I just use computer printer paper when I do most of my solutions for stuff. So, okay, good question. Thanks, Michael. All right, guys. Other questions I can answer for anybody about the exam or anything that's going to go on for next week with the course? Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to stop recording at this point because I'm done blabbing about stuff.